Hey guys, this is Miss Cat, and today we're going to be talking about how to create a main menu for our game. Um, with this, we're not going to go too crazy on it. We are just going to go over some of the basics. And when I say main menu, really the only thing I'm going to be showing you is kind of making a new scene, putting in, some text and a button, and making it connect to our main level. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up to File, New Scene. And then I'm just going to do File, um, Save, or Save As. It's a new scene, so it will allow me to save it. If it shows up like this, just hit the down button and navigate to your scenes, because remember, we always want to be putting our stuff in our scenes. And for Save As, I'm going to call this Main Menu, right? Oh, Main Menu. So now we've got our main menu. I'm going to click Save. And next I'm going to create UI. I'm going to create a canvas. So remember that our canvas, this is where our camera is. This is our little box for our camera, and this is our canvas. So it gives us more space to work in and kind of set things up. And then we're going to put things in there, and it's going to show up over where our camera is. And with that, remember that your canvas needs to be on space overlay, screen space overlay for render mode, and our UI scale mode needs to be scale with screen size. Always make sure you're scaling with your screen size. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit create. I'm going to go to UI, and let's just make some text. So this is our main menu. Let's make sure that we actually know it's our main menu. Main menu. I'm going to size this up to like 50. And then if you notice, it disappears. So I kind of touched on this, but not a ton in the last video. If it does that, what you can do is there's one of two ways to fix it. You can change your width and height up here, or you can go up to the top right here, and there is actually a rect tool, which allows you to mess with what would be your bounding box for that. And I'm just going to remove this right here, and I'm going to change my color to, oh, didn't mean to do that, to white. So that way it just shows up better. It's just a style choice for that. Now I'm just going to do another thing. I'm going to create UI button. And once again, if I want to make this a little bit bigger, two ways I can do it. I'm just going to size it up like this. The reason I don't just come in here and scale it up is because that would scale up my text and it makes it look a little bit pixelated. So instead, I do this, and then I can go into my text. Gonna call this play because we want to be able to play our game. And I'm going to turn this to 30, which fits within my button, so it's all good. All right, so now we have our main menu and we have a play button. That's about all we need for this scene at the moment because we can't do anything yet, and I'll kind of explain what that means. So let's go File, Save. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and now we're going to be talking about how do we get this to connect. So the first thing we need to do is we need to go File, Build Settings. And what Build Setting does is it says, okay, when I go and I take my game and I build it out so people can play it, what are the scenes I want in here? So you may have 5 million scenes in your project, but really you're only building out 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of them, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do Add Open Scene right here. So I've now added my main menu to my scene. And the reason I add my main menu first is whatever your level 0 is the first thing that's going to build out. So if I made my first level 0, then instead of seeing my main menu, it would just start me in my game. And I don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead, exit out there, click into my first level now. I'm going to do File, Build Settings again. And now I'm going to once again hit Add Open Scene. So now I've got my main menu and my first level. Like I said before, if you accidentally did your first level before your main menu, don't worry, you can move these. I can put it before or after. Just make sure that your main menu is 0. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and exit that, and I'm going to go back to File, or not there. I'm going to just double click on menu. All right. The other thing is, let's say you want a controls thing to pop up so people can see, how to play their game, how to play your game using the controls, or if you have like, an index or something randomly. You can kind of do that the same way you do a pause menu if you don't want to create a whole new scene. And I usually do that as I just create another type of what I have in my actual game where it's kind of similar to the pause menu. But let's go ahead and just talk about how are we going to get this to play. And it's really simple. I promise you, this is one of the more simple things that we do. So I'm going to go back to Assets. I'm going to go to Scripts. I'm going to right click over here. I'm going to do Create, C# script. And this is going to be the only script I really have on my main menu. So I'm going to call this Main Menu, because I can shove everything that I really want to script in my main menu on here. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And we're going to get into just writing our code. And our code for this is super simple. The one thing that I will say is different is that we're going to create a function and we're going to make it public. So what is the difference between a public function and one that's just a void? So a public function allows it to be called in Unity. It's not going to show up in your inspector like a variable would or a game object or anything like that, but it will allow you to actually call it whenever you whenever it's like on click do this or anything like that, and I'll show you that in a minute. But yeah, so we're going to start with public void. I'm going to say play game with our parentheses and our curly brackets, and then in here I'm going to do application, which once again I just put it in, and then when I see it pop up I can do that. Start typing in load level, popped up again, so I'm going to do that and then add in quotations right here, because it has to be within quotations. I'm going to go ahead and put in that name exactly how it is for whatever level I'm going to load. So I have to spell it exactly how it is. So I'm going to go back to my scenes real quick so I can see. So it's first level. I'm going to pull this up and I'm going to type in exactly how it appears. First, remember, capital sensitive, level, and then here's the really hard part, guy. Add in your semicolon. And then Command S to save. We're good on that. So we've got our semicolon in there. Awesome. And now I'm going to go back to my scripts, grab my main menu script, and just attach it to my main camera. It doesn't really matter where you're attaching the script to. It can be on your canvas or on your camera, on the event system. It's not a big deal. I wouldn't necessarily put it on a button. I would usually put it on my main camera on my canvas though, just because that's just a holder. You're not losing it within a bunch of stuff and having to find it every time. So I'm going to go ahead and come into my button, and our buttons have this on-click feature, right? So in our pause menu, we said, if we do that, we want to be able to click and unpause and pause our game. So this is going to work the same way. We're going to add an on-click. And so on-click, we want something to happen. And so we're going to come up here to main menu. We're going to click and drag it over to our game object right here, and now we can look through our functions. So we're going to look for main menu, which is our script we just applied, and I want to look for play game. So like I said, I put public void, so this is where it shows up. If this is not public, I do not see it here. It would just go through and I wouldn't even see it. So I'm going to click play game, and we're going to go ahead and test it. I mean, it's this simple. You can just take this same code and do application load level within your pause menu too to load up your menu. So I'm going to go ahead and press play, and let's check this out. So I press play, I go press that, and ta-da! We are now in our game. Like I said before, if I wanted to, I could, have this go back to my menu just by using that same exact piece of code I already had. Right now it's just a pause and unpause, but you can always add in those buttons. Alright, so that is it for this lesson. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in class tomorrow.